2 weeks to wealth. My name is Walter Murillo, and we've been going through this journey now for 42 weeks. This is Wealth Principle 42. Become the hold on. 42 is give the impression of increase. And in order to do that, you must become an advancing person. So to give off the impression of increase is to let others know that you are moving in a direction. Now, many of us don't want to be seen by others. Has anybody ever heard fly under the radar? Has anybody heard you should fly under the radar? Don't be seen. Don't make too much noise. Don't let anybody know what you're doing. Keep quiet about your goals. Hands to the camera if you've heard all of these things at some point in your life from somebody who should know better, somebody who's supposed to be a guru or a teacher or a trainer. It seems like the poisonous mindset has been out there perpetuating for a very long time. Who's discovered already that in order to become successful, you must do things different from everybody else? Yes, because the average person is not successful unless mediocrity was the goal. If you wanted to just be unhappy in your marriage, you wanted to be overweight, and you wanted to be broke, and then you could be average. You could do exactly what everybody else is doing. But if you're looking to be in shape, happy with your life, happy with your relationship, and having a lot of money, you've now got to become the top 5% of the country. Now, in other countries, they don't have the weight issue. America, that seems to be exclusive to us. Other countries still have the poverty issue because America is the wealthiest country on the planet. And they also have the relationship issue because, human relationships, that seems to transcend all barriers. Men still don't understand women. Women still don't understand men. Countries still don't understand each other. Hands to the camera if you know all of this is true. It's a communication issue. It's a language and understanding issue. And that's where Alchemist Nation came in. Ron and I, a long time ago, about 4 years ago, said, what's the biggest problem on the planet that we could solve? And we said, well, really, it's mindset. If people could just kind of understand each other a little bit better and understand how success works and how to get the things that they want, then likely there wouldn't be as much turmoil in the world. Hands to camera if you agree as well. If people all could just kind of understand themselves a little bit better and maybe understand each other a little bit better, then we'd be richer, we'd be happier, we'd be in better shape, and there'd be less arguments. So the 52 Weeks to Wealth is designed in order to help each one of you increase your income, that's the money, and do it with less work, less time. Hands to camera if you're still cool with doing that this year. Excellent. Who here's been with us for more than one season? This is not your first time around, not your first rodeo. Excellent, excellent. Who's been here for more than 2 seasons? Who's been here all 3 seasons and are still rocking and rolling with us? Give yourselves a round of applause. Our OGs. Now, many of the OGs, if you look around, they're actually millionaires already or multimillionaires. And some of them are just super high income earners, or they just do whatever they want, however they want, with whoever they want, because financial freedom allows that power. The 52 Weeks to Wealth all hinge upon the principle before them. Every week hinges on the principle before that because it is leveraged and based on success principles from over 400 books. Who here has read a lot of books? Who here reads one book a week? Or about one book a week, peeps? Awesome. So in our community in Alchemist Nation, we read one book a week because the average person only reads one book a year. So by reading one book a week, it gives us a 52-to-1 advantage. Chance to camera if you want advantages in your money-making skills. Absolutely. So the biggest advantage I could give you is an advantage of how to become a monster marketer, having people flow towards you without you having to do anything. Chance to camera if you're ready for this principle. This is a very interesting one. So creating the impression of increase, there's a couple of things we have to understand first. To create, right, is the opposite of competing. So it's not taking the impression of increase. This is creating. It's manifesting. It's from nothing or from unusable parts, turning it into something that previously didn't exist. Understand, we create, we don't compete. Yes? That's what Alchemist Nation is all about. All right, so first, we've got to create. The appearance. This is very, very important because one of the principles of success is people must be able to see where you're going. So I talked to a billionaire a little while back, and his name is Ramy El-Batraoui. He wrote the book, You Really Can Think and Grow Rich, or Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? And what Ramy was saying is there's 3 ways to become a billionaire. He's a billionaire. So I was like, how do you do it? Who here knows you'd ask a great question to a billionaire as well? Yes. So this was the question I asked. It's like, how do I come up with billion-dollar ideas? Right? How do I know an idea is going to be a billion-dollar project? Because I don't want to work, 3-4 years and then find out the project I built was only $1 million business. Hands to camera if you can understand that. After I've built a couple $1 million businesses, I now have that concern. right? Like, I got to the end of the rope on this business. Like, how do I know that it's $1 billion business? So he says, well, there's 3 things you need to do. I've talked about these a lot because these really are the only 3 things that if I could get it into your head and you implemented it, you'd be rich. So first is you got to believe it's possible. And by the way, that's the hardest one. The hardest one is believing that it's possible. So don't disregard it, because if you're not already there, there's a good chance that's the one that's stopping you. And then the second one is you must create a visual representation of it. And I like the story of using Elon Musk, because Elon, when he was building SpaceX, he didn't go build a rocket. What he did is he built a model of the rocket so he could raise capital from investors so he could then afford to go build the rocket. If that makes sense. Same with the Roadster. He didn't build the Roadster. What he did is he built a model of the Roadster, showed a couple rich guys, and were like, do you want one of these? Because it's kind of going to look like this when it's done. And then got the investment to build a couple dozen of them and then sold those afterwards. But he got the initial investment in the company before he was able to sell the product itself to those investors. Same investors. Interesting fact. Investors who invest in your company are probably going to buy your product. Ask Karen if that's cool. Nice little, that's a twofer. Second money is easier than first money. All right. So this idea of creating something visual is what I want to focus on today in this principle. That's what this principle does. The second step is go out and tell everyone. Right. A third step to becoming like to $1 billion ideas is you got to tell everybody about your idea. Like Melanie's, talking about Subway now, and all she needs really is a visual representation of what it would look like if she owned Subway. So a website or a pamphlet or a banner or something that people could look at and be like, oh my God, like this is what it would look like. This is the prospectus, right, Melanie? If you had a prospectus together, it'd be very easy to go and acquire the capital for doing the deal. By the way, all real estate investors, where are my hands at? Real estate investors, capital raisers, people who are investing other people's money, OPM. This is your prospectus. This is your pro forma. We raise capital off of a pro forma or a prospectus or a PPM. So these are visual documents that somebody can read to understand what they're getting back. They can read to understand what the project looks like. Hands Karen, if you understand this now, how this principle applies to what we do. All right. And then number 3, again, you got to tell everybody. Who here has been told by me multiple times, talk to more people, tell more people what you're doing. Awesome. That's not going to change. That from now on until you and I are both like spirits or like ashes in the ground, I'm going to tell you to talk to more people and tell them what you're doing and ask them how you can serve them. Or ask them who they know you can serve. So going back to the wealth principle, give the impression of increase. First, you must desire increase. Hands Karen, if you want more for yourself. Excellent. Awesome. Excellent. Hands Karen, if you also want more for others. Are you brave enough to want others to do well and others to have a better life? Excellent. This is why we get along. So we're on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. This is a long-term mission. Clearly, building millionaires doesn't happen overnight. It took us 3 years to build our first 24. Now, what's interesting is we've attracted a lot of millionaires. And so it's getting a little bit easier because the more millionaires in the community, the easier it is for others to believe it's possible and have a roadmap to follow and have confidence to go and tell others how that they're doing it. Hands Karen, if you're catching the 3 steps, it's just easier when people around you have already done it. Who's found that when you hang with a group like this, or you hang with a bunch of people who are doing the same thing, you start doing the same thing. You start like moving in their direction. So an unfair advantage, a way to cheat the system is to just surround yourself with people who are already successful. Just get there. This is not a secret. Everybody knows this, right? Who's been known this since you were a kid? Right? You want to be successful. It's average your 5 closest friends, like get around people who are successful, get around people who are motivated hustlers, be around the people who have money. You'll have money. There's a good chance, right? It's really hard to be broke when you're around a bunch of rich people. Like, unless like mentally there's something wrong with you. You're like, no, don't give me your money. No, don't give me that opportunity. Oh, no, I don't want to do any work. I don't want to do anything. Like you keep all the money. I'm just going to sweep the floors here. Like it's really, 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 really hard to be broke when you're surrounded in rich people. So this flaw of society is that they're keeping themselves down because they don't know that they want more or they don't want more. Who here is not like gone and experienced what it's like to spend $10,000 in a day for 7 days straight? Who's not spend 70,000 in a week? All right. So how could you ever want to? right? How could you ever even like be like, that's my new goal? Like, unless it was first implanted into your brain, unless you've had an experience, how could you ever want to go and create it or earn the money to do that? Right? Who here's never spent a $30,000 month? Anybody? Who's not spent a $30,000 month, right? So to fathom what a $350,000 year would be like would be impossible. Right? It's like, I don't even know what that looks like. What am I eating? Where am I living? Like, what am I driving? Who am I hanging out with? What are those experiences? So very important for you to start realizing like that might be the reason you haven't gone and wanted more. It's because you don't even know what that looks like. You don't even know like how to want that because it's not there. It's not programmed. So giving the impression of increase means that you must be advancing. First, you must be advancing in order to give the impression. You must actually be out there doing things, and then you must let others know that you're doing things. And when you do this, something magical happens. Others will suddenly want to do the thing you're doing. They can't help themselves. It is human nature to desire the things that others have. It's been a survival instinct that our culture has had for years and years. Our species literally survives by chasing the things that other people have identified as valuable. Somebody identifies a plant as valuable because they ate it and didn't die and it tasted good. There's a good chance that I should eat that plant too, because I've seen other people eat plants and not do good. And so we stay away from the things that other people don't like, and we go towards the things that other people do like. We have a bias, a review bias. When somebody else gives us a review, we tend to like it, not just 1% more. We tend to like it 50% more if somebody else suggests that this is a thing I should do in my life. Hence, if you felt that yourself. You see reviews online, you're like, oh man, this is a great product. What? Crazy. I'm buy. Well, it's the same thing when we're talking about this lifestyle where we're looking to raise capital. You've got to give the impression that your capital, like when they give it to you, it's coming back to them, right? They got to feel like you're the kind of person who can bring it back, right? If you're selling something, who here sells something? Hands to the camera if you're a salesperson on any level. Excellent. So when you're speaking to somebody, they got to feel like what you're selling is just the beginning product. And you've got to feel that too. Like you've got to feel like in your soul, like this is just me learning this product. Like this is just what I'm able to put out now, because like after a couple people buy this, I'm going to know better. I'm going to create a better product and a better product and a better product. It's going to keep getting better. The same product is going to get better and better and better. Just like all the great vehicles, right? Like I know Tesla is one of my favorite companies. So I'm going to talk about them a lot, I guess, for the rest of our lives. But Tesla, think about the Model S. When it first came out, it was a great car. It was like the best car ever. But 10 years, 20 years down the road of the Model S being produced, it's like, this car is even better now. Same car, same functional car, except it's got an upgraded system. It's got upgraded software. It's got upgraded hardware. It's got, they put the batteries in different places. They do all sorts of different things to the same exact vehicle to improve. You're kind of like that. You're kind of like the same model, except your cells are changing every single day. After 7 years, you're an entirely different person. What's even crazier is your mindset is shifting constantly. And so after a year, 3 months, who's had like a 3-day experience where your mind shift like changed entirely in 3 days? You're just like, whoa, totally different person. You like walk out of the room a completely different person. So like you're changing and upgrading your systems, but people don't know until you give them that impression. Right? Who here knows, like you're hanging out with your family this Thanksgiving and like you're a totally different person who hung out with them last year? Who here knows for certain, like they don't know, but you knew, like inside your head, you're like, I'm just gonna, yep, absolutely. But you knew something different. Like you knew some secrets. You knew some stuff that like, if you said it, they'd be like, what is that? That doesn't make any sense. That's because somewhere along the line, you have increased, you have improved, you have advanced yourself. And to give that impression to somebody who's interested in advancement is to put in front of them something desirable. Who here knows that people pay the people they know, like, and trust? Well, they can't know you. If you can't give them the impression of increase if they don't know you. You can't give them the impression of increase if they don't like you. Or if they don't like you to begin with, they're never going to want to move forward with you. So this whole concept of sales truly is based on give the impression of increase. Then trust you. Can they trust you if you're not increasing? I wouldn't trust somebody who's shrinking in their life, who's scaling back their business. I might be the next client they scale back on. They might cut some of my favorite services if they're scaling back, if they're pulling back, if they're not doing as much as they used to do. So it's really important to be at yourself always moving forward. Now, I'm not saying work more as we grow. We remember that that's my whole intention, is to make more money and do less work. So as you're moving forward, you must bring in systems or people to replace yourself as you're moving forward. So it's very important, listen to this, that your product makes money continuously, not just one-time sales. One-time sales can be deadly to a business, because if ever the sales machine or the marketing machine go down or stop breaking or shift, your income stops immediately, and now you have a challenge with all your employees. Hence, care if you've ever had that fear or had that experience. I know I have personally had that, being in the real estate agency business, right? Because that's a heavy marketing game, and then one day it just gone. So we got into the rental business. Rentals are much nicer. Doesn't matter what the market does, cash flow still comes in. And we found the same thing with Alchemist Connect. So some of our other businesses have monthly subscriptions, things that, monthly come through. So even though we made a big sale to help set people up with Alchemist Mastery, what we really did was we got like advocates into our platform. We build it all out. So now, like, the little $97 a month seems easy, seems small. In your business, you may be looking at, okay, I've raised a bunch of capital. Now I've got to put it into something that cash flows. I've got to put that money into something that cash flows and pays me back. Cash flow is super important. Now, I'm not saying just real estate right now. We are not real estate investors. We are cash flow investors. Hands can, if you agree, you invest in cash flow. Yeah, certainly not appreciation, but we're cash flow investors. So some of my investor friends invest in hotels because hotels pay very well. They invest in casinos because casinos are cash flow businesses. They invest in, I have a buddy who owns 7 bars because it's a cash flow business. We actually, who here was at the summit and got to hang out with us on Sunday night, went out with us. So you got to meet my buddy Marco. So Marco, he owns commercial real estate. He actually owns the real estate for those bars. He owns casinos, owns hotels. That's his space. He likes cash flow. Vinny Chopra loves cash flow. Residential assisted livings, right? That's really business. It's not so much real estate. It's kind of real estate, but mostly these are businesses. They lean heavier on the business side. Hence, if you understand that, like RAL has like 25 employees, right? For like 80 units, 25 employees in that space. So it's a lot different from the traditional real estate that we're used to. Some of the other investments, man, mechanic shops. I know guys who are buying mechanic shops, auto body shops, who are getting deeper into service-based industries like hair, nails, because right now in a down economy, people do the things that save them money. Now, if you're looking at a business yourself, look at your business and say, is this recession proof, right? And if it's not, how can I make it recession proof, right? Like the advancing person, like giving the impression of increase will draw more people to your business regardless. So if you're looking at this recession and saying, oh my God, my business is getting destroyed, it's going to go down. Yeah, laundromat's another one, or car wash. Yep. But for us, like, we're looking at this and we're saying, oh my God, a recession, this is where more millionaires are built. Who here knows more millionaires are built during recession than any other time in the world? We understand that. Like, we as millionaire builders, like we literally own the site I Build Millionaires, because that's what we do. We build millionaires because the recession is our greatest opportunity. We're ecstatic and everybody thinks we're evil or crazy. Who knows? When I'm like, oh my God, it's a recession, this is the greatest time of all time, people are like, oh my God, people are getting hurt. I sat with my mom yesterday, and here's why she only sees me a couple times a year. We were out with her yesterday, and she's like, oh my God, so many people are getting hurt in a recession. It's so bad. Everybody's going to be, losing houses, losing their jobs, not being able to pay for food. And she's like, Walter, you can't be excited about this. I was like, Mom, like, you don't understand. Like, my whole entire life has been based on like solving these problems for people. Like, that is all I do, is focus on how do we solve these problems. When they're having challenges, we go and we buy the stuff that's solving the problem, right? So as real estate investors, hence care, if we solve other people's problems, I mean, we're entrepreneurs. Like, that's just what we do. So we have somebody who wants to invest their money with us, right? Capital, the big who's raising capital? Hence care, if you're raising capital from other investors, OPM, right? They're raising capital from us, giving us their money because it's burning a hole in their pocket. And they want that return on investment. They give us 90,000 so they can walk away with 100,000. And Scam, if you agree, that's why investors invest. They want a return on investment. They want it. It's not like they like their money burning, like sitting there getting eaten up by inflation. So we're solving a problem there. Same with the people we buy the houses from, right? They're house rich, cash poor. They need money to eat. They need money to go on vacation. They need money to pay their bills. They need money to have a life, a decent life. And a lot of times just extend their life till, or extend their money until the end of their life cycle. So we buy the house because the house isn't doing them any favors, but the cash does do them favors. We solve problems. Giving that impression of advancement through when you're in one of those appointments, letting them know, hey, look, this is what we do all the time. I can't wait to help you. I can't wait to get you to the other side. This is what I'm very good at. I'm going to continue doing this. This is a service I'll be doing for the rest of my life because I love it. That gives confidence both to an investor or both to a seller, somebody who's looking to sell to you. And Scammer, if you understand, there are a couple tricks that we can use to give the impression of advancement. Who would like to know those tricks? Excellent. First, you must believe that you are advancing. You must write down on a piece of paper, and we can do this right now, a couple of things that are proof that you have already advanced this year. Now we're at the end of the year, so we literally just have one more month left. So you should have a pretty sizable list, but let's just choose 3 things right now. Right, we're doing an exercise we do every week, an exercise to implement this principle. Write down 3 things that you have improved in your life this year. And in order to make this functional and useful in your business, tie it towards your business somehow. So if you have raised $5, cool, proof of concept. Did they get their $5 back? Right? If you have gotten good at borrowing money and they got their money back, that's something you've gotten good at. For real estate agents, if you've gone and taken 10 listings, that's something to brag about. That's something that you can say that you've done. If you've written a book, who here's written a book this year? I know Mike, Thurbin, Schaff. So a couple of us have written books this year. That's something that proves that you're advancing. You now have something in the world that didn't previously exist. Who here has done some acquisitions, bought some things this year, acquired some real estate? Yes, excellent. Made some passive investments. Cool. That means that there's a good chance that you're increasing. Other people are going to see that, wow, this is not the only house they're buying, or this is not the only investment I could invest in with them. They've got other investments. Or they're also passive investors. Again, show of hands, who wants to raise capital this year? Show examples of times you invested passively. In order to become a great capital raiser, you must become a great passive investor yourself, taking your money and putting it into other people's deals, other people's projects. When you're passively investing in other people's stuff, it's very easy for you to tell your friends, oh man, I love this deal because I put my money in. This is how I'm making all my money, is I put my money into these deals. Well, tell me more about this. Right? Because people love to do what other people are doing. That's kind of like makes sense. So 1 or 2 things, 2 or 3 things that are like proof that you have advanced this year. Yeah, if you spent time at the gym, if you decide to finally commit to a relationship, or you got out of a relationship, sometimes those are wins. But proof that you're growing. Quit a job, or started a new job, or created your business, or invested in some real estate. Bought a program. Who here bought Mastery? Is a member of Alchemist Mastery? There you go. Proof of advancement. Right now, everybody in Mastery has access to me and a bunch of millionaires, and we're forcing you to go and take some action. We're building your websites for you. We're doing a lot of the marketing for you on the back end, the automation of your sales process. So you've advanced, even if you don't know it yet, or even if you don't want to. We're practically forcing you to move forward. Recession Proof Challenge members, hands can in the Recession Proof Challenge. Excellent. I just had a bunch of my buddies, by the way, a few millionaires texted me this week, and they're like, yo, I'm jumping into that. I want into this challenge thing. You know why millionaires are jumping in? Because there is a recession, and they're a little bit concerned, and also because there's a recession and they just want to grow. Like they're growers, right? They're the people who are increasing at all times. Hands can if you know you're increasing no matter what. Yeah. So 21 day challenge is a lot of fun. So I got millionaires jumping into it this time around, which is exciting for me. Next, we've written our little list of proof that we've advanced, or that we have advanced in the past. By the way, this is just so we can believe. We're going to write down what is the one thing that I could share with somebody. And it doesn't have to exist right now, but would it be a digital rendering, a video rendering? Would it be a 1-page cover letter, but something that you could share with somebody that they would see to say, yes, I want to either buy your product, invest in your business, or sell you my property? What is something visual that you could show somebody that they would now say, this works? Oh my God, I understand what this thing looks like. For capital raise, when we used to raise just debt, we used to explain we're going to pay you 12% interest. That means if you invest $100,000, you're going to get paid $1,000 per month because it's 12%. There's 12 months. And we used to have a little graph that broke it down, made it super easy for them to understand. Hence, Karen, if you understand, it's just a visual thing to explain what you do, what your service does. If like one of the buildings that me and Ron were investing in, it was a big 80,000 square foot building. So we had a digital rendering of it where like virtually you could drive through, like fly through the whole building, all renovated with the stores and shops that we were installing. So you could see that. And that made it easy for investors to say, oh my God, this is exactly the sort of building I want to invest in. Because if you saw it the way it was, overgrown, torn apart, windows broken, nobody was handing us money to invest in that building. Hence, Cam, if you understand, the visual is important. All right. So what visualization have you already have or that you need to go create that is affordable for you to create too? Like some of the stuff that would be great, like you can't go build a spaceship right now, right? You don't have the $250,000 to go build your first spaceship model. So you might want to scale down on certain things. Hence, Cam, if you understand, we could do that. Depending on what you're doing, right? We're not all Elon Musk coming out of the gate. By the way, Elon had built 3 businesses prior to SpaceX. So, made a couple $100 million each time before he got to that cool business. I just keep reminding myself that. Hence, Cam, if you want to go to the moon someday, Mars, asteroids, we're not Elon, right? we got to pace ourselves a little bit. So be patient in the process. And step 3, who could you tell that might be interested in investing with you? Who might be interested in buying from you? Just write a short little list. 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 5 people who might be interested. We take this action right now. Just names off the top of your head. And they don't have to be right. This could just be, instead of me saying who might be interested, I'm going to say who you're just going to go contact, who you could easily contact, who you have their phone number. You can just shoot them a text or make a call and be like, yo, like, who do you know? Instead of putting the pressure on them and saying, hey, do you want this? Just be like, who do you know who might want this? And let that go and see how it is. So this is an action step. Write this down. And I know that this is where most people, when I give action steps, are like, there's no way I'm writing this one down because this sounds like work. I hate the idea of like hard work is how you become successful because I don't believe that's true. But if you think picking up the phone and calling people is hard work, then yes, hard work is necessary to become successful. Hence, if you understand, you got to pick up the phone, you got to call somebody, you got to shoot a text back, you got to build the relationships. You do not know what will happen either way. But I guarantee you, if you don't, nothing will happen. If you don't text, if you don't call, if you don't have the communication, we do not know the quality of person on the other side of the line. I have for years judged everybody. Who here has judged the value of another person and been wrong? Yeah, all of us. I am wrong every single time. I swear to God, every time I judge somebody, they blow my mind. Every single time, like, there's no way that person could ever invest in my business. And before you know it, like, that person's found a way to invest in my business. 1, because I give everybody a chance. And 2, because I'm constantly advancing. The more you advance, the more you give the impression of increase, the more opportunities you'll have available for people to invest in your business. You got to make room for people. Some people don't have the money, but they got connections. Some people don't have the money or the connections, but they've got an asset you could acquire. Some people don't have the money, connections, or an asset, but they have a skill set that you acquire in your business. So if your business gets big enough, you can start making room for these people. There's actually space for everybody. You've just got to go big enough, wide enough, and that increase, that advancement that you're doing is going to give the impression itself naturally, right? Elon's got 100,000 employees. 100,000 employees, man. That means every year he's putting in 100,000 years of productivity out into the universe. Who here is only putting 1 year out every year? All right, a couple of us got 5 employees, we're putting 5 years of work out. This dude's putting out 100,000 years in 1 year. That's how much work gets done through Elon and his companies. Think about it. If you're not where you want to be, it might be because you're doing it alone. And you're competing against people who've got 10 years worth of work happening in a year, 20 years worth of work happening in a year, right? There are other people out there who have, sharpened their minds and said, you know what? I can't do this alone. I'm just going to bring some other people in. I'll bring enough other people in and I'm going to get there faster. Who would like to get there faster? Absolutely. Then make room for people, right? Be somebody who's giving the impression of advancement. Make room for salespeople, for marketers, for your clients to be advocates of your business. Everybody that we touch in Alchemist Nation, my constant wish for you is that you be absolutely successful in this goal of becoming a millionaire, and then let everybody know. And honestly, I don't even care if you let people know before you get there. I'm like, tell people about us now. If you're on the way, bring somebody with you. Who's heard me say that? If you're going to be a millionaire, bring somebody with you. Bring your family, bring your friends. Create that marketing within your business. Like, be the advancing person who's like, look, you hang with me, I'm going to make you successful. Who knows? That's genuinely what I believe. You spend enough time with me, one of the things I'm saying is going to get inside your brain, and you're going to be like, oh my God, I get it now. And you're going to go do it, and you're going to be successful. There's only 3 steps. There's 52 principles that all hammer back on the 3 steps, the 3-step process for becoming a millionaire. Now, because it's simple does not mean that it's easy. And because it's simple and easy, or well, not easy, but because it's simple does not mean that you will do it. Who here has known these things for a long time and still not done them? That's where the tribe comes in. That's where hanging with other people who are figuring it out, who are doing it, that's where it starts to have the impact. People in this society put too much emphasis on knowledge. Well, I know the steps. I'll never go back to a group like that again. Well, you know the steps, but you're not doing it. Like, yes, the steps are simple. Absolutely. Getting rich is the easiest thing on the planet, or simplest thing on the planet. It is doing it, like doing the steps to get rich, doing the steps to have an impactful life, to get that charity funded, to help somebody in need. Last night, I gave a tip of, I don't know, it was like, I gave $100 to the woman last night, and my mom started crying. Well, at first she's like, honey, that's too much. That's my mom's voice. I am so bad. All right. So I love her though. Sort of most of the time when I think about it, I really do love her. So she's like, you can't give that kind of a tip. And I looked at her, I was like, what, do you want me to give you the money? And she said her whole mindset suddenly shifted. She's like, no, she needs it. Like that's, good for her. And I was like, okay, then. Right. Like, you're going to tell me how much I can give for a tip to somebody who's got kids, who's like, it's just $100. She spent $100 on Christmas gifts, right? I'm just evening out the score. Like, life's been a little bumpy in the road here. And I'm just evening things out because I can. But she's concerned about, like, that was too much to tip. Has anyone ever felt that way? Like, oh, it's too much a tip, right? Like, some people do. My mom was like jabbing at me, like it was like the evilest thing that I was doing. Like, it's the stupidest thing I ever did was put $100 down for a tip. I know people in our community have put $2,000-$3,000 down as a tip. Like, we've some of our millionaires get together and they'll all throw in $100 just a tip, and the person now has $2,000, $2,500 tip. Hands can if you want to be at those tables every so often and get to see those videos. Yeah. So for me, I'm out with my mom, I'm out with my brother. Like, here you go. Let's create an experience. And after like she was giving me a hard time, I just told her, I was like, Mom, like, cool, okay, you're right. I'll give her $20. You keep the 100. And she's like, suddenly, like, just everything inside of her was like, oh no, like that's wrong, right? That isn't the right thing to do. Hands can if you know that feeling, like internally, like people do know right and wrong, right? They do know, like I think it's inside of everybody, even if their first reaction is dumb. The first reaction is this scarcity, this competitive, this like, don't do that. Like, don't help somebody that much. It's too much help you're giving somebody. I don't believe that it's possible to help somebody too much when you're only giving them $100. I don't think $100 will ever qualify for too much when it's been eaten up by inflation as much as it has. Hands can if you understand. It's just an old perception around the value of that dollar, that $100. It's not as valuable as it used to be. And even then, it wouldn't put somebody out of a hole. But the idea of it, how many times in your life are you holding back when you might want to actually be putting something forward? How many times in your life have you kind of been like conserving some things when really it's just, that one little thing, like you put that one thing in and it actually improves somebody's life? And we do the same thing with our training company. Like last night I was trying to explain to my mom. She's like, oh, you're doing really well. I'm like, what about my life or the experience that you see about my life makes you think I'm doing really well. Oh, I see your videos all over Facebook. Well, the videos are free. I don't get paid for the videos. That's me donating time. So, well, you get all these students, all these people at the coaching company. I was like, yeah, but that coaching company cost me 400,000. It makes 400,000. That's a wash. That's all reinvested back in the company to keep it growing. To keep who here loves Alchemist Nation? All the free courses out there, all the Alchemist Connect, like all those free things. Well, Connect is paid for, but it costs $250,000 to get to. So there's a lot of investments that we make. The 100 Millionaire Summit cost 80 grand, right? I spent 13,000 on tea and coffee. Who had some tea and coffee? Loved it. Yeah, like these are the cost of things, right? So we make these investments back into it. So I'm like asking, I'm like, Mom, like, what makes you think I'm successful? Like, where do you come up with this? Well, like you got like that's all this stuff. Look, I'm successful because I bought real estate 10 years ago, right? I'm successful because I have cash flowing real estate. I'm successful because I have great business partners. I'm successful because I have these other businesses that nobody knows about that. Well, I mean, everybody knows about them within Alchemist Nation, but the rest of the world doesn't hear about my other businesses. What you hear about is me donating my time to building millionaires, going above and beyond in this mission to build millionaires, not because I have to, because I said I would. Who here knows that's the impression of advancement. That's the impression of increase. Knowing that we're not just building millionaires, we're going to automate the process. And we're very, very close. Like when I say close, I had a breakfast meeting with the team last night, our acquisitions team. And I'm telling you, we're really, really close to automating the process where you basically put the quarter in, turn the machine, you get a bubble gum out the other side. So that's the goal is you put the quarter in, you turn the machine, millionaire status on the other side. Because millionaire status is a lot like hitting the sound barrier. Like my good friend Bill Allen, I just posted his talk last night. Bill Allen said it. He's like, you hit the sound barrier and you don't know. When you're in a plane flying in a jet, supersonic jet, and it hits the sound barrier, nothing changes except for the gauge. The gauge just twicks a little bit because the atmospheric pressure changes a little bit on the gauge. But inside the jet, nothing. You don't hear a sound because the sound's outside, right? And now you're going faster with sound, so you can't hear it. There's no sonic boom inside the jet. That's only outside. Hitting a millionaire, it's like, that was a Tuesday. I don't know. I don't know when it hit. It only hit like when I looked at my calculator and I was like, oh my God, like I might actually be there. That kind of hits. Millionaires know what I'm talking about? Like millionaire status broken on a Wednesday? Like we don't know. Sometimes we're sitting in a room and somebody else calls us out on it. And we're like, wow, I guess I am a millionaire now. So it's not about the $1 million. It's about who it makes you become. It's about the process of getting there, the people you got to hang with, the relationships you got to have, and what you're able to do with it to help others once you've gotten there. So that's our focus is we build millionaires. That means you must have the mindset, which means you're great at communicating with others, understanding, empathizing with others, and then creating charities or creating systems that could improve the world in a bigger way. So Ron and I, when we said we got to work on mindset if we want to make the world a better place, we asked ourselves, what's the one mindset that we could teach that would get there? Or what's the one gauge that we would know that a person had attained the mindset? And that would be $1 million status. Who here knows if you make $1 million, if you were given $1 million, there's a good chance you're going to lose it. Happens, right? You win $1 million at the lottery, gone. Whereas if you build and earn the $1 million, there's a good chance you get to keep it. That's because of the mindset that is associated with building and growing that kind of wealth. And that mindset means you care about others, you do things morally, ethically, and legally, which is why you get to keep the money, and you're overall a decent human being. Now, not all millionaires are decent human beings. Who here has talked to a millionaire and we're like, that person kind of sucked a little bit? Yeah, we all have our bad days. And some of us, the way we got there isn't the way we're keeping it. A lot of times, some millionaires will just kind of like become like dragons, just hoard their wealth and just start falling apart, and they're probably not going to have it for very long, which is why we buy their properties at a discount. Hence the camp, we buy real estate at a discount from old landlords who used to be really successful landlords, and then they were declining, and then we bought that property at a discount. That's the game. I love it. So Darina said, I got to tell you about the Recession Proof Challenge. We have a deal going right now. Who knows about Names on Deeds? Names on Deeds. My exclusive training for small multifamily investments. How to buy multifamilies with none of your own money. Put your name on deeds. So real estate investment is the easiest way to build millionaires. The easiest way to build millionaires, put names on deeds. Help somebody put their names on deeds at a discount, at a deal, buy enough property, buy a $5 million property for $4 million, got a millionaire, right? And if you know that math makes sense. That is sound math. Yes, you buy a $5 million property for $4 million. That's $1 million of equity hanging out on the backside of that. So real estate really is the easiest way to build millionaires. So what we did is we said, okay, Black Friday's here. Let's do something like, why don't we go and do a deal for the Recession Proof Challenge? Because that's my entry point of building millionaires. First, I got to teach you how to communicate with people and who to communicate with. Who here knows, like 10 people is all you need to take over the world, right? 10 people who give you $100,000. That means you got $1 million. With $1 million, you can go buy a $5 million property. Hand scan, if you recognize that math makes sense. That's sound math. So what we're going to do is show you how to get 100 people. And there's a good chance that only 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% of them fall in love with you. The other 60%, 50%, whatever, well, they're not your people. They're good for somebody else. Hence, if you know, 1/3 are going to love you no matter what, 1/3 are going to hate you no matter what, and 1/3 don't care about you no matter what. Super important to recognize that. So that's what we focus on, the Recession Proof Challenge. And with that, this time for Black Friday, we're going to throw in on top of it is the Names on Deeds workshop. So that workshop, I'm going to go through the creative financing strategies that are working right now, subject to seller financing, how to buy your own properties. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the off-market strategies that we're using to automate the millionaire building process. I'm going to show you behind the curtain of how we're taking people's investment and then we're finding deals for them and putting them under agreement without using any of their own money. Deals like the one Melanie Santos just did on Middlesex Street, where she bought a $500,000 house. Listen to this number, $500,000 house for $400,000 with zero money out of pocket. I think she might have brought like a couple thousand for the closing costs. Melanie, was that right? All right. Next time I'll work on it. Next time we'll get the seller to pay for everything. The seller took 50% seller financing at 6% interest. Hand scan, if you know, 6% is cheaper than the market rate right now. Yeah. Hilarious. I love negotiating this deal. This was fun. So she owes 6%, 50% to the bank and 50% to this investor. She owes $400,000 on a property worth $500,000, $100,000 equity position. Who's doing that math? And the bank money is a little more expensive than her private money. And then the private money investor, like the seller, is now a private money investor in their other deals. So the person they bought the house from is like, hey, yeah, I got $150,000. I'd like to invest in some of your other stuff. And Scam, if you know, that's a great experience. We turn our sellers into investors, right? You don't judge a book by its cover. Just because they're desperate to get rid of the house doesn't mean they don't have too much money now. Remember, you just put money in their bank account sometimes. And sometimes these sellers, like for me and Ron, like when we sell our portfolio, like you're not buying something from a couple of schmucks. You're talking about a couple of guys who are millionaires sitting on a bunch of cash that you just bought assets from. We still got cash, so we can go and invest in other people's deals. Hence, if you understand, there's a lot of people like us out there right now. It's mostly sophisticated sellers selling at the moment. It's mostly sophisticated investors who are letting things go, creative financing. So we're going to show you how to have those conversations, how to build those relationships with those investors in this market right now. That's what the Recession Proof Challenge is designed for. It's actually designed to raise capital. It's designed to get you 100 millionaires. See that? The Recession Proof Challenge is designed to get you the 100 millionaires so you can have deep relationships with. So when you raise capital, you got access to all the money that you need. Not only are these the people that become like capital investors in your business, but they're also the people who can become mentors to you. Hence, if you'd like to learn the process, how they got there. Like 100 stories, right? 100 different stories. You think you'd be able to put the facts together if you had 100 millionaires you could reach out to and like put the facts together. And here's the other thing. Impossible to compete on this because I hate competition. This is a creative space. This is not the 100 millionaires within Alchemist Nation. This is 100 millionaires in your city, in your niche, in your city, so that your 100 is different from somebody else's 100. And so eventually you're going to bring your 100 millionaires to something that we're doing at the 100 Millionaire Summit. And if you recognize, I got two reasons to do this. One, to build your millionaire wealth, and two, to recruit other millionaires to help build other millionaires for $97. Now, don't tell me you don't have $97, right? You can tell me you don't like my hair. You can tell me you don't like my eyebrows. You can tell me you don't like this beard, But man, do not tell me you don't have $97 to learn how to build a network of 100 millionaires who you can have lunch with, learn their stories, and if they know, like, and trust you, which I'll show you how to get them to do that, they may invest in some of your deals, some of your businesses. Here's the other thing. They might actually also sell some of their properties to you if they like you enough. Ask Karen if this is the only strategy you need to learn to become recession proof. You're aware of this, yeah? Also, if you've got a service business, they might buy your stuff. It's a lot easier to sell things to people who have money than it is to sell something to people who have no money. Who's tried that before? Can't get blood out of a rock, right? But I've noticed my ultra rich friends are always buying something. Always. I mean, they're buying another house, or they're buying another experience, or they're buying another asset. Sometimes they're buying little liabilities because, hey, whatever, liability here and there is not going to break them when you're a multimillionaire or a millionaire. And Scam, if this is a good strategy, you get it. Awesome. So Black Friday deal, names on deeds, workshop in January, plus recession proof challenge, $97. Take action now. The challenge starts December 5th, but today, tomorrow, and Cyber Monday will be $97. Go to challenge.alchemistnation.com. Dorian, did I present that well? I missed any facts? Awesome. Let's give Dorian a big round of applause. That is challenge.alchemistnation.com. Dorina just dropped the link in the chat. Click the link now. Go to it. Push the button. Give us your dollars. You give us your $97, your little $97. We're going to give you a monstrous return on investment on the other side. The reason being, it's not about the money. It's really about you becoming a recruiter of millionaires so that you can become a millionaire. Hence, Cam, if you understand, my ego is super strong. I said I'd build 100 millionaires this year, and that's what I'm fucking doing. So pay attention. Jump into the course and give me the opportunity to push your butt along, and then just do what I say. If you have a hard time doing what other people say, yes, being rich is probably out of the question for you right now. You can be rich or you can be right. That's the option you have at this point. If you haven't gotten to rich yet, give me a chance. Hence, Karen, if you understand, all I'm asking is for an opportunity. That's it. So go and give yourself the opportunity. Go to challenge.alchemistnation.com, click the link, push the yes button, put your credit card information in. I know, hard steps, but look, you were willing to do that at Starbucks yesterday or the day before or this week. You're willing to do it at Target to buy something that your family's going to throw away at some point. Go and put some investment into yourself and hang with this group. Do this 21-day challenge. By the way, every day I'm going to give you a mission. And this mission will not self-destruct, but your business might if you don't take action on it. So every day, 21 days, you're going to get a mission from me. Who has already done the recession proof challenge and has done it multiple times? Who has gotten more value every single time that they do it? Excellent. This is a badass fun thing for us to do that also makes money. Is that okay that we have fun while we're doing it? We're hanging with good people while we're making money. Is that all right? I got permission to have fun with this? Good, because if it's not fun, you won't do it. I know that already. Been building millionaires now for 3 years, intentionally building millionaires. We built millionaires before that, right? Just as agents, just helping people buy real estate. And agents build millionaires. Hence, if you know that's true. Agents help people buy real estate. Real estate's how people become rich. So real estate agents do build millionaires. I did that for years, only working with investors. And my business partner was my first millionaire that I built outside of myself. I partnered with my business partner and he became a millionaire. So there are a couple of ways that you can do it. But what I found the fastest way is this recession proof challenge that leads into some other opportunities that lead into eventually the automated process. The 25 cents in the gumball machine, the gumball comes out and you're a millionaire. You might not notice how, the difference, but it's still something you can chew and have fun with. So challenge.alchemistnation.com. And Mike, what do we do every single week? I think every single week we talk about a book.
We do.
Because we're a community that reads books, right?
Yeah.
If you're interested in the book this week.
Yes.
Yes. Mike's like, yes, everybody wants to know. Let's give Michael Shine a big round of applause. The keeper of the books, the holistic attorney, the closer. Mike, what is this week's book of the week?
Oh my God. This is one of my favorite books ever. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I just re-listened to it over the Thanksgiving holiday. Was riding around Roatan and put on my headphones. This book is just so amazing. She says in the first chapter about something that she went through every self-help guru. And basically her quote is, I took one for the team. And when you listen, you realize that she really did. Jen just went through everything to come up with these amazing tips. So like all the other books we talk about, she's taken some from it and she just Jen puts it into like the most amazingly digestible way for you to hear it. You know, and when I originally started thinking about talking about this one, I said, well, I can say to the women that, you know, if you want a woman's perspective, because that's different. But then I realized that there are a ton of women out there that already put this in, like Louise Hay, Florence Scovel Shinn, and of course Jen Sincero. So they're out there. It's just oh my God, this book is such a good reminder. Walter and I talk often about certain books that we'll listen to, you know, once a week, like Science of Getting Rich, once a month, like Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And this one I would definitely recommend to everybody to listen to at least once a year. It's an amazing reminder. It's all about becoming the advancing person. It's all about just crushing it in life and going from not crushing it to switching that mindset to crushing it in a fun, funny way. I love this book. You Are Badass. I love this one. I love the second one, the green one. It's awesome. This book, I can't recommend it more highly. Yeah. You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. Boom.
Like, you get this one yet? The Habits?
I do. I have badass habits too. I met her and I would buy anything that she sells because she's awesome. Boom. Thank you.
Let's give Michael Shine a big round of applause. And Mike, I went and I looked and I was like, where is Jen Sincero doing any events? And she's not. I went on our website. I see no events coming up. So because you've spoken so much about it, her and then T. Harv Eker, I want to go back and see again because he just is fantastic.
I'll go with you.
What we do is based on that.
I'll go with you.
I'm with you, man. We will go together.
Okay. Boom.
So let's give Michael Shine one big round of applause. We specifically chose these books because they tied into the wealth principles. I've read over 400 books, just like Jen Sincero says. I took one for the team. I've spent over $150,000 on coaches, on seminars. I've spent millions on lost or messed up deals that I should have not lost or messed up. Hence, Kenneth, you've probably spent millions and you don't even know it yet. A lot of missed opportunities in your life. I assure you there are missed opportunities. In fact, don't worry about it because you're missing an opportunity right now. You've been missing one yesterday. You missed thousands over the last week. Don't worry about it. The thing is, just start preparing yourself so you can be aware of the next opportunity. Get your mindset right, get your financial situation right, get your network right, so that the next opportunity you can actually take action on it. You don't need a lot of them. All you need is one really good deal to get you there. One really good opportunity, one network, one understanding, one principle, one strategy. All it takes is one. It's just like one connection away from success. Who wants to know next week's book so you can start reading it if you've already read this one? All right. Next week, the book is The Laws of Human Nature. This is a super deep psychology book by Robert Greene. He's also the author of The 48 Laws of Power. And that one's definitely interesting. The principle is 43, understanding the power of demographics. Understanding the power of demographics. So we're going to go into the conversation around people and their existence, just kind of the way people kind of mold into a group. And if you're in a business, you want those. It's basically another way to say understanding niches and kind of where niches might sit and hang out. So The Laws of Human Nature is a fantastic book in order to understand that. And I would start reading it now because this is no small book. In fact, I'd get it on audio. It is a fantastic, I think it's 24 hours. So it's a big commitment, but man, it's got to be one of my favorite books. Certainly my favorite from Robert Greene. And I've read all of his books. He's got a really good knack for understanding the human psychology. Hence, if you understand, this is just a machine up here. It's pretty repeatable. If you can understand it, then you can communicate with others better. You can sell to others better. You can convince yourself to go do just the right things. Who here's not done the right thing, even though you knew the right thing? Anybody ever not done the thing that you knew was right? So you want to understand that psychology is a really, really good thing. And even if you took it before, go back and take it as if you're trying to understand yourself. Right, just so you can start moving towards doing the life that you want, living the life that you want. Who here knows they deserve better than what they've given themselves so far? Yeah, there's much better out there for you. I guarantee you there is. There always is. There's always something more you can get. As long as you're doing it morally, ethically, and legally, then I condone do whatever it takes to get it. Go out there, serve more people, shoot, make more money. It's a good thing to do. Hans Karen, if this is a good principle, you got to implement it this week, right now. Excellent. Feeling a state of gratitude. I want you to focus on serving someone who has money this week, right? I asked you to break down 5 names. If you didn't do it then, do it now. Focus on serving 5 people who have more money than you, who are richer than you, more successful than you, who have assets, who might have problems with those assets and might require some help managing or dispositioning those. Or they have assets that they'd like to just get into your hands, like cash or deals. Focus on serving people who have money. Focus on getting into the challenge.alchemistnation.com. It's 1 hour per week. At 1 o'clock, it's not even an hour. Sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes. I say sometimes. Elizabeth Miller's in there. She's like, it's usually an hour. One time I made it 25 minutes. That's if you remember that
Not
one
a
call.
week.
Was it, Dorina?
An hour a day, not a week.
Hour a day. Yeah. So there you go. It's about, here's the deal. I'll be there answering questions for as long as until an hour goes by. At an hour, I do make a hard stop. But we try to make the lesson as short as possible so that the Q&A session can be valuable. Who gets more value sometimes out of the Q&A than the lesson itself? Awesome. Excellent. I love that. So challenge.alchemistnation.com. Jump into the challenge. Speaking of Q&A, we'll open it up to a couple questions. And for everybody on Facebook, love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Cheers to success. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, so I am the keeper of the books. And I did want to point out that this wealth principle comes from chapter 15 of The Science of Getting Rich. And what's a good word? I implore you, if you want to change your mindset, I'm just begging you to do this because it's just so easy. Listen to Wallace Wattles' The Science of Getting Rich every single Sunday or whatever day works for you. But just listen to The Science of Getting Rich once a week. It's less than 2 hours. And I swear to you, it will change your mindset. And from a selfish point of view for the coaches, it will make our job of turning you into millionaires so much easier, because this book once a week will make you a millionaire, and then you show up and all sorts of opportunities come to you. So The Science of Getting Rich, we listen to it on Audible, right, Walter?
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday. It's a good day. If you do it at 1.25, it's actually even less than 2 hours. I just implore you, this is like the easiest thing to do. Spend the $10 on the Audible book and listen to it. It's so good.
And I'm going to give you a pro tip that came from Mitch Dorsky, who does this with us. This is the version of the book you want. The other version, the audio, the narrator is not as engaging or cool. And so Mitch was falling asleep. And he was like, how do you guys do this? I mean, we're like, what do you mean? Like, it's great. Like this, I just feel so good every week. You know, I listen to it. I feel like my mind is clear. I'm doing the right actions. And he was like, yeah, no, I can't stand the guy's voice. Like, what do you mean? Like, the voice is amazing. He totally reads it right. This is the version. You want the version that's, I don't know who it is, but this one right here with the vial on it. All right.
It's Jim Roberts. I've listened to it so many times that at the end he goes, this was narrated by Jim Roberts. So
let's give Mike Shine and Mitch Dorsky a round of applause for that great awareness. Seriously. It's 2 hours, less than 2 hours. Mike is so right about this. It was this principle came from chapter 15 of this book. Just so many of the principles come from this book. Like, this book talks about almost all of these principles. Hence, Karen, if you'd like the condensed version of the 52 Weeks to Wealth, you'd like to just jump in and like have that play for you in just 2 hours a week, go and listen to The Science of Getting Rich. And that will help you understand everything that we're doing in this 52 weeks, this process to building millionaires. Go ahead, Ron. I saw your head up first, brother.
Just a question around once you give a person the impression of increase and advancement, how do you ensure you maintain that impression over a sustained period of time?
That's a really great question. I think that's where like Darina shines in our company and in everything that we do. It is follow-up, right? It is continue. It is also identifying their goals, listening to them, talking to them. See you later, Michelle. And identifying what they would perceive as increase, right, Ron? Like not everybody is going to perceive the same thing as increase. You know, if I went out and I was taking pictures of Lambos, I might get a whole bunch of broke people being like, oh man, like that guy's rich. But truly sophisticated investors are not going to think I'm rich. They're just going to think I'm an idiot. Does that make sense? So really like talking to your people and just making it consistent that you're reaching out to them and finding out what's going on in their world or what they perceive as valuable or what their goals are. And if your goals are somewhat in line with them, you can then drop out and be like, oh yeah, hey, you know what? Speaking of, I'm doing something like that. And this is something that you could kind of do for free or might cost you a little bit, but this is something I did last year or the year before that you sounds like you might need. So like if you're raising capital, for example, Ron, if you're looking to take other people's money and put it into investments that you're doing, you may want to share like some Rod Khleif training, right? Like how people can learn how to evaluate deals, like how to underwrite a deal so that they can now understand how to look at your deal, right? Like those are like nice little things that you can give somebody that is, and it doesn't cost you anything. And you can send emails or blogs that are like that. Go ahead, Mike, or YouTube videos that are like that, just to, you know, touch base.
I also think that this is all about mindset. And so when you're talking, Walter, I'm thinking Tony Robbins, because, you know, if you sit in front of a mirror and you say, I am an advancing man, which I've actually done, every time you get up and you go see that person, and this is true for me, that when I feel it, I give that to the other person. So it's all about your mindset. If you believe in your heart that you're an advancing man, that comes across to other people. So you just have to have that feeling and bring it. But Tony Robbins obviously can say it 1 billion times better than I ever could. But yeah, that's who you present.
Hey, G, can I jump in too?
Jump in.
So, I mean, the answer to the question is kind of like the same as what got it started. Like the things you were doing to create that impression, like continue doing those things. Like basically, you know, especially like when people ask you like, oh, you know, what do you got going on or what have you been up to? It's like, if you're talking about, oh, you know, I got this investment coming across my desk, I'm looking at this deal, I'm doing that, like that's going to basically keep that impression because you are basically being an advancing man or woman, right? Because you're not just, you know, resting on your laurels, you're continually growing, continually looking for opportunity, right? So basically, you know, not that I want to promote working all the time, but, you know, stay busy, stay working, treat everything like when you were an intern, to quote an intro to my favorite Jay-Z song. So that's, you know, really it. Just whatever you did to get that impression, keep doing it. You know what I mean? And I just speak from personal experience. You know, I'm always talking about, you know, what I'm looking at, what I got going on, what I'm working on. And then organically people are just like, oh, well, how do I get involved in that? So, you know, it's not, I guess my point is like, don't overthink it. It's not rocket science, you know, just be an advancing person, you know, continue doing what you're doing. And it's not, you know, you're not going to lose that person. And in the end, you know, you can have people that come and go throughout, you know, the journey. And that's fine because that's, you know, how it's supposed to be. Some people are supposed to be, you know, some people are there for a reason, some people are there for a season, and some people are along for the entire ride. So, and that's okay, regardless of what place each person falls. And as Doug would say, that's all I have to say about that.
Let's give Mitch Jorsky and Michael Shine a big round of applause. Two powerful bombs. Let's give Ron a round of applause. What a great question, man. How do you maintain it? And to simplify what these two really smart guys just said, just think in your mind, ask the question, how is it that I am already showing up as the advancing person? What proof do I already have that I am advancing? And just let your mind start finding it for you. Because I guarantee you, Ron, you just came out of a deal, or you just left one of your buildings within the last 48 hours, right? So like you've got proof. You're on this call, right? I was on a call with a bunch of millionaires today. Hand scan if you know that sounds insane to the average person. I was on a call with over 5, 10, 6, 7, there's 10 millionaires on this call throughout this shift today, right? Hands camera, if you can, if no other people can say that. Nobody else can say that. That's just you. All right. You were on a call with 10 millionaires today. I heard this on a call that I was on with 10 millionaires earlier. With a bunch of millionaires. Well, there was a couple multi-millionaires in there, and this is what they said. Right? Like, you are the advancing person. You're hanging with people who are advancing. So you just start looking for ways to prove that you are, and like that hypes your mind up. Like, before you go into any communication with any human being, just be thinking like, what have I recently done that proves that I'm advancing? What have I recently done that proves that I'm moving forward? And then as soon as a couple things hit you, you get what Mike talked about, that juice, that you just get hit with that electricity. You're like, oh my God, yeah, I am advancing. Whoa, the people are lucky to be around me. Ron, you feeling that right now? Let's give him a round of applause. Todd,
For
go ahead,
sure,
brother.
for
Throw your
sure.
hand up.
Hi, just curious, along your journey, have you come across the, say like a coach or trainer or mentor where you're like, man, I need to maybe step away from this person because they don't have that positive, I don't know what to call it. They kind of not, maybe you're not seeing quite eye to eye. Have you come across something like that before?
Absolutely. There may not always be alignment. And you got to be careful with, is it not alignment on the moral, ethical, legal side? Because if it's unalignment there, get rid of the coach. We don't even have to think about it, talk about it, right? If they're not doing things morally, ethically, legally, okay? On the other side of it, is it that we're not in alignment because my old subconscious mind is trying to hold me back, right? Like that's, I want to be very, very careful when I say this, because sometimes it might just be that person's a little rougher than you're used to. And sometimes having people different from you might actually move you forward, right? Or like sometimes that person's a little softer than you used to, and that's going to force you to be like, wow, like, what, do I need somebody yelling at me? Why is that I need somebody yelling at me in order to be successful? This is, I might have some issues. Why don't I just listen to their gentle approach and maybe I just go and start doing the things they're saying? So like, as long as it's not because of a lack of personal development that the coach is, like rubbing up against you, then totally. Like if it's more like you don't like the way they are doing things morally, ethically, and legally, like if they're talking down to people or they're condescending and like they're not clarifying why they're doing that, like it's not for intentional purpose, then I would start wondering, is this right for me? Maybe I signed up for a program and this person's mindset's not where I want to go. If they don't have what you want, that's another one, Todd. And this is for everybody. If they do not have the lifestyle, the relationships, the body, or the money that you're looking for, then that would be a reason to not sign up with a coach in the first place. Like that for sure. Like, I'm not trying to, hold on. You get divorced 6 times? Maybe I'm not going to you for marriage counseling. How about that, huh? Shoot, I might not go to you for money counseling because I might hang out with you and catch that vibe that you're feeling, right? So like, I'm very, very cautious in that sense of like, does the person have what I want? Do I feel like they have the lifestyle that I'm looking for? And if they do, then cool. Like I don't always get along with my coaches. That's not why I hire coaches. I don't hire them to get along with them. Right? I hire them to move me to the place I want to go that I haven't been able to manifest myself because I'm clearly not the person yet who deserves it or who has done the work to get there. So Todd, like tough one to answer. Maybe Mike wants to add a little bit more to it.
I was talking in the chat with Thurbin about this because he said he attracts only good millionaires and good people. So as within, so without.
Yeah.
So you will attract, if you've got the good vibration going on inside, the perfect person, when they say when the student's ready, the teacher will appear, that kind of stuff. So if you're attracting the wrong type of people, then you might want to look at your vibration and see where you're at, do some meditation and feel that way. And then I noticed that when my vibration is high, I meet the right people all the time. It's just they come to me left and right, and you're like, wow, where did these people come from? And then when I'm in a lower vibration, I notice that I'm getting people that don't align and aren't the right people. So as within, so without. So See what you're doing inside.
Yeah, can I speak on that, Mike?
Yeah.
Because I think too it's a belief. And like for me personally, I will only look at like truly successful people, like happy relationships, good body, financially sound, and just the energy you get from that is like I said, it's contagious. Like, and I think too, like if you have like I have blinders, I guess, in my mind. Like I literally do not like even on my social media, like I only follow the people I want to be like. So, I think it's just a mindset. But yeah.
Give Thurman James, Michael Shine, and myself a round of applause. Yeah, great advice. Let's give it great advice. Todd, great question. Was that helpful? Awesome. And I feel like, Todd, you probably already had some of those answers, right? You're already like, it's like, you know what? You know where you stand with the situation.
Yeah, but you know what it is sometimes you look too much and it's right in front of you. So you need to appreciate what's in front of you rather than keep looking. Yeah, well, it's a costly mistake, but it's one that
I hear you, brother. We've all done it, man. Let's give Todd Dudley a round of applause. It's true. Like what we're doing here in this community, in this tribe, builds millionaires. Like that's what we do. And that's what we're continuously doing. That's all we work on. Many other coaching companies are like, I'm going to teach you how to wholesale. I'm going to teach you how to do flipping. I'm going to teach you how to do this. I'm going to teach you how to do that. We aren't going to teach you how to do anything. We're going to build you into a millionaire. We're not a teaching company. I want to be very careful. We look like a teaching company. We sound like an education company, but we're shifting more into the millionaire building company. Like that's really what our intention is. It's what you notice we're spending more money on technology, and we're spending more money on bringing the right networks in, the right relationships in. We're more about how do we build millionaires versus how do we teach more people. So if you're looking to become a millionaire, you're in the right space. And I would say that about anything. Like, why would you want to learn something? Like, why do you want to learn something? Wouldn't you want to just be something? And to me, that's where we focus on the being, right? Be the millionaire, be the great person, be the great husband or wife or father or parent, mother, be right in the great body that you want. And like teaching is not so cool. I don't like teaching. We use teaching as a tool, as a vehicle to attract, because teaching is great marketing, right? Who knows? Like you see, like learn how to. You're like click, but sell your house without a realtor. Like everybody clicks on that. It's crazy. It's insane. But at the end of it, in that course, I'm going to tell you to go get a realtor. Right? That's my home buying seminar. Learn how to buy your own house, sell your own house without a realtor, and then at the end, I'm like, you know what? At the end of this, you probably you really need a realtor. So education is just a good marketing tactic to support what you're actually looking to do is become the millionaire, become that great person who always pays their bills, who's a great person to invest with. So I love it, Todd. You're in the right place, brother, and we're blessed and we're thankful to have you here every week. Let's give everybody who's been on these calls for the 52 weeks to wealth. This is Wealth Principle 42. Next week is Wealth Principle 43. Understand the power of demographics. And if you don't understand what demographics are or what the power of it is, you definitely want to show up because it's a really important lesson. The book of the week is a big one. It's The Laws of Human Nature. And I can assure you, you will learn something about you and you will learn something about other people, because this is the same man who wrote the book, The Art of Seduction, The 48 Laws of Power, and many others. Some really great books from Robert. Yeah, he's just The Power of War, The Art of War, not The Art of War, The Power of War, The Laws of War, not to be confused with Sun Tzu's book. He also wrote The 50th Law, which is a book he wrote with 50 Cent. Does anybody know who 50 Cent the rapper is? Mitch might like this one. So that's kind of a funny book. It's an interesting book, but it is very serious. So that next week we're getting back here at the same time, same channel. Ron Bowling, if you're down, let's connect and talk about some of the mathing we've been doing. Ladies and gentlemen, this mission will not self-destruct, but your business might if you don't take action. Cheers to success. You have a choice. Always work with the best. See you next week.
Yes. Peace out.